Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Hello, thank you for watching my videos. It's Mike. It's March 23rd, 2009. Here's some of the interesting things I've been watching. Of course, the big news today in the United States is that the Treasury has unveiled a new toxic asset plan. Oh yes, citing acute pressure on the banks. Yeah, okay. Now this is all the headline stuff, and of course in the UK, the big headline there, of course, is Jane Goody has died. Now, while this is a sad thing, this is not the most important thing in the world. Where a B-rated, bigoted, uneducated woman has died. Anyway, carrying on. U.S. Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner to announce new $1 trillion rescue plan. Okay, very good. And of course, Paul Krugman's got in on the act and basically said, this is all a bunch of nonsense, you're just going to wreck the entire country. What's actually going on? Well, I've linked a couple of articles here. One is from a blog site, so you can take it as however you want to take it. But basically, he's saying it's a great big bait and switch, which is entirely true. It is a public-private initiative. Public-private initiative. Now, we've had these in the UK, and they're not working terribly well. Looks like majority of them, the government is going to have to step in and actually finish the work without the private funds. A similar thing is probably going to happen with the TALF, or whatever they choose to call it over in the States. In that, yeah, okay, the government's going to put in $100 billion, and private initiative is going to put in $400 billion, and they're going to build this bad bank of toxic assets. And of course, the ones that go bad will just be handed to the government, and the ones that go good will be handed to the private interests. So the private interests, if everything works out fine, they'll walk away smiling. If it doesn't work out fine, they'll just hand it to the government and say, oops, sorry, not interested in those. You better take care of those ones. Of course, we did something similar over in the UK, and it will turn out probably the same way. The government will be lumped with the bad stuff. You want a big picture of what's actually going on? The Rolling Stone. Now, Rolling Stone magazine is an excellent magazine. I mean, most people think, it's just music. But there are some excellent writers on it and excellent investigative reporters. And of course, being outside of the, quote, mainstream media, they're allowed to say things that most other journalists are not allowed to say. Now, it's a really long read. I can fully understand you may not wish to actually read the whole thing. But basically going on about, and really stressing to people, and getting out into mainstream media, the global economic crisis isn't about money, it's about power. Wall Street insiders are using the bailout to stage a revolution. This is entirely true. Of course, this has happened before. All you have to do is look at the 1920s, the 1930s, and what the big banking trusts got up to. Well, the same thing's happening today. Of course, JP Morgan, now JP Morgan Chase, or whatever you want to call it, seems to be at the forefront of all of this, and Goldman Sachs. Anyway, read it. Read this article. If you do nothing else from the stuff that I've linked, read this article. This will explain a big picture view of what the economic crisis is really all about, and why it's important for you to know little words like CDS and CDO and synthetic CDO, etc. Now, one of the other things that you may not have noticed, on Friday 3 banks failed. You can go check it out on the FDIC site. However, 2 commercial credit unions failed. Okay. Now, I've linked a story to one of them. U.S. Central Credit Union may form bad bank. And another article here, U.S. seizes 2 big credit unions. Okay, now they're saying it's a credit union. It isn't. What these are the commercial credit unions, and these basically provide funds to the regular credit unions that most people would know about. So this is kind of like, you know, the investment banks behind the big banks. So the nonsense that happened on Wall Street will soon be coming to Main Street in the form of your credit union going funny. So be prepared. And of course, they're not really stressing that in the news. No, we have this stupid TALF thing. Who's really in charge in the government? Well, I've linked an article from the Council on Foreign Relations. Remarks by the National Secretary Advisor Jones at the 45th Munich Conference on Security Policy. First sentence is quite relevant. Thank you for that wonderful tribute to Henry Kissinger yesterday, he says. Congratulations. As the most recent National Security Advisor of the United States, I take my daily orders from Dr. Kissinger. I thought he took his orders from the president. Okay. Grim news in the UK. Economists are warning UK to remain in deflation trap until 2012. Britain will be mired in a deflationary trap for years, despite the radical efforts of the Bank of England to pump cash into the economy, economists have warned. The forecast by a team at BNP Paribas states that prices in Britain will keep falling for at least another 2.5 years. At least someone's trying to tell you that. Now, of course, coming up next week, G20 meeting in London. It's going to be a very important meeting. Now, there are a number of protests planned. Some of them will be, quite peaceful. Some of them will not. It's important to choose whether you wish to be part of a peaceful protest or part of a not-so-peaceful protest. That, of course, is entirely your choice. Should you decide to attend one of not-so-peaceful protests, I would suggest you stick to the sides, just in case you need to make a fast getaway. The police, of course, know that you're coming. Now, I've linked an article here as to who's behind the website. I'm trying to get the website name here, because it's buried way down in here. The G20 Meltdown website. For those of you who want to go check it out, it's g20meltdown.org. Anyway, the two people that are organizing, or the three main people organizing the particular set of protests, are not what you would consider your normal anti-establishment kind of figures. Two of them are professors at the University of East London, and one of them is a environmental protester, previously known for her work as a model, a page 3 model, and actually appeared in Playboy as Playmate of the Month a number of years back. Well, anyway, they're basically saying, let's go have fun, let's go laugh at the bankers, is what they want the protests to be. I guess we shall see what happens. Unfortunately, I will be in Paris on those days. Never mind. Linked here, police arrest 300 in Paris riots over economic crisis. Well, I'll be staying away from those, I suppose, if they're going on in Paris at the time. But basically, some of the most recent protests over in France have garnered the support of up to 3 million people across the country, showing their anger at President Sarkozy. Now, in an earlier report, I mentioned, of course, that Canada is telling people to get prepared, and they're really pushing it in the news sites. Well, evidently, the states have also set up a website recently. They're calling it Ready America, and I've linked it here. Unfortunately, they're not as promoting it quite as heavily as they are in Canada. But they are tacitly trying to tell you in the States, please be ready for things. Bad things are going to come your way. Okay. So one of the comments, one of the emails I had on the weekend was about, I remember you talking about these synthetic CDOs. Where is that? Where is that information again? And so I told her what video that was on. But I thought I would bring it up again. Particularly because the Rolling Stone article mentions the fact that you really should start to understand what CDOs and CDSs and synthetic CDOs and all the other nonsense out there is. So what I've linked is a really interesting PDF document on structured finance from Fitch, the Fitch ratings. And basically they go into great detailed discussion as to what a synthetic CDO is, and how it's made up, and what are the various components of it. Now there's a picture in there, for those of you that don't quite like reading words, which is fine. There's a picture on the third page, which should give you some idea of the complexity of this particular debt obligation, and how fragile it really is. Okay, to finish the report. a couple of videos. Because I'm in Denmark, I will be linking a video from the band, let me just pull it up here, from the band Sukerchok. Now I can't pronounce this title. Havar som helst, nar som helst, nar som held. Anyway, I got the nar. Anyway, if you look that up, if you Google the last part of that, nar som helst, you'll actually understand what this song is about. I found it quite funny. And feck you very much. Now, I'm not going to say what it should be, but I'm not one to swear on YouTube videos. So, feck you very much has put out a video earlier today, or actually yesterday, called "This Video Needs a Title." And it's well worth a watch. She has some very interesting points in there. And for those of you that have never seen any of her videos, I highly recommend her. She's a thinking woman, and really does deserve some support. Okay, folks, everyone out there, have a good time, have a good day. I'm in Denmark this week, so I will try to get some reports done, but no guarantees. Okay, peace, love, understanding, think about things, and I'll speak to you again soon.